Hey investors, today we're going to analyze the Harrisburg, Pennsylvania real estate market. First, we're going to take a look at the overall market of Harrisburg. Then we're going to take a deep dive into an actively listed investment property to discuss things like cash flow, return on investment, cash on cash return. By the end of the video, you will know the fundamentals of Harrisburg real estate market, i.e. population growth, unemployment, average sales price of properties. You'll also know how much money you could make if you purchased an actively listed investment property in the market today. And last, you'll know, in my opinion, if buying an investment property is a good financial decision or a bad financial decision based off numbers we analyze with cash flow and appreciation. If this is your first time to the Real Estate Hackers channel, I'm Dave Hathaway. Welcome. We discuss real estate, investing, and building wealth. So let's get into it. The address we're going to look at today is 1318 Hanover Street, Harrisburg, PA, 17104. And if we look at the overall market first, we look at population of Harrisburg is right around 50,000 people. It's declined just a little bit, 0.06%. But if you're looking at the graph, it looks like it's flattened out since 1980. So it's basically a stabilized market over the last 40 years, which is a good sign. Unemployment is at 2.9%, which is super low, about a percentage underneath the national average, which is great. Average salaries in Harrisburg, according to ZipRecruiter, are actually really high. $73,281 per year. Compared to most markets that I've analyzed, that's like really high. So super good stat there. Median sales price there in Harrisburg is $214,317. It's up year over year, and the average days till pending is 10 days. So Harrisburg is still a hot market in the current environment. Median rents, it looks like Zillow states, are at $1,375. This is up $46 year over year. So rents have been steadily growing, not at a staggering pace like some markets, but steadily growing up, which is a good thing. The price to rent ratio is 12.9, which is great. Anything under 15 shows that you can actually get cash flow in the market. And so this is a cash flowing market that you can actually find cash flowing investment properties, which is hard these days. Looking at Fortune 500 companies, Harrisburg has no Fortune 500 companies headquartered there. For major sports teams in the market, it doesn't have actually any major league teams, but it does have the Harrisburg Senators. This is a AA Washington Nationals baseball team, and it also has the Harrisburg Stampede, which is an indoor football team. Now for international airports, it does have an international airport, which we always like to see. That's Harrisburg International Airport. And it is Pennsylvania's state capital. So that is huge, especially for employment and government jobs there in the city. So my overall market verdict for Harrisburg is going to be 2 thumbs up. It has some great stats. Everything overall is good. It would be nice to see population growing, but if that's the only thing that they have is a stabilized, flat population, I give it 2 thumbs up. Everything else looks great. Moving along to the Google Street test for the property 1318 Hanover Street, Harrisburg, PA. You can see this is a brick in-unit townhouse. There's nothing that stands out massively from this house per se. The one thing that I do notice when I'm looking around the neighborhood a bit is that there are a lot of apartments around there. And the apartments remind me of Section 8 housing in most areas. So I'd assume that there's a lot of voucher tenants in this area. Not a terrible thing, but often that means it's a little bit higher crime area. So when I'm looking over here, if I was driving down the street, I would just make sure I tap into my gut and say, hey, is this an okay neighborhood? Is this a bad neighborhood? I'd also make sure I just reach out to the local real estate professional and say, hey, what do you think about this area? What's going on over here? But overall, the Google Street test, I give it a pass. Moving along to the listing details. So this property is listed for $112,000. So super cheap. There's a reason I chose this property. It is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath I usually like to purchase properties that have more than 3 bedrooms. I don't like to purchase properties that are under 3 bedrooms, like 2 or 1 bedrooms. I just find that you're in higher competition, and usually in a lot of markets, you can achieve higher rents with 4 or 5 bedroom properties. So again, this is a 4 bedroom, 2 bath. It's 1,617 square feet. So decent size. It was built in 1927, so pretty old, coming up on the 100-year mark. And looking at the listing photos, my rehab suggestions would be wrapping any exterior wood. So if you see like the flaking on the wood above the window at the front, I would definitely wrap all of that so you don't have to paint it. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about any lead paint. I would fix the concrete stairs on front of the property. And I'd also paint that front door a nice color to give the house kind of a pop, maybe a nice blue, and give it kind of an elegant feel. And I'd also buy some really elegant numbers, house numbers for the property, and put them above the door. Moving on inside the property, one of the first things I notice is the brown painted hardwood floors. So I don't like brown painted hardwood floors, but if ever there's something that is not horrible looking, that's not going to totally detract from a renter, and it's in good shape, which these look like they are, this is a good principle. If it's in good shape and it's not going to totally detract from renters, I keep it. Let renters beat it up, wear it out, and then I'd eventually put LVP over top and give it a really nice look. But it's in good condition. It doesn't look too bad, so I just keep it right now. In the kitchen, the cabinets look like they've been painted. They look like they've seen some better days. I would definitely get rid of those cabinets, get new kitchen cabinets, get nice granite countertops in the kitchen, keep the stainless steel appliances, and then moving on into the bathrooms. The bathrooms are pretty rough, and so I'd give both the bathrooms an overhaul. I always like putting framed mirrors, but I'd 100% get rid of this little like shelf above the toilet, and I'd give the bathrooms very nice marble looking tile surrounds on both the stand-up shower and the bathtub. I'd also get rid of all these like grungy shades that you pull down. They're just disgusting. I'd either put curtain rods up there, or you can purchase extendable curtain rods, which I talk about on a lot of shorts. They're inexpensive. You put in the windows and the tenants can hang up curtains to those, and you can kind of just throw them away with the tenant and just have them replace them. One thing that I do actually notice in this property, and I haven't stepped foot in this property, I'd probably give it another coat of paint on the walls, different than white normally, just because it looks better, it appeals to tenants more. But I did notice, if you look at the outlets, they are buried into the shoe mold and in trim along the bottom of the wall, and that usually means that it is pretty original. I can't actually get a close-up on the outlets, but it looks like one has some black marks, and it's very possible that these outlets, with the year of the house, that they're only 2-prong outlets, and that means they don't have that third prong that you probably have in your house that is for ground. And so that is a safety issue, and not only could your house burn down because there's higher risk of fire, if that is not just dirt on this one outlet, I would replace, especially at this price point, I would replace all the outlets in the entire house and kind of give this whole house a fresh redo on the electrical system. At the very least, if I had never set foot in person and I'm doing my numbers, I'd include this in my estimate, thinking that I'm gonna have to do it, and then hopefully be surprised on the upside and have a contractor or a licensed electrician come in and say, nope, Dave, everything looks good. You don't need to do it. But I just planned that I'd have to do it by what I can see currently. And so looking at all those rehabs, I think that the electrical alone would probably cost somewhere around like $15,000. That's going to be a big chunk of the budget. So I actually think you could probably get this property nicely rehabbed for somewhere around $35 to $40K, and that would be my budget. So here's my quick plug to our Master the Rehab 101 course. If you're struggling or you don't know how to do rehabs well, or you don't know how to find great contractors, check out our course, Master the Rehab 101. There's a link in the description, or you can just go to mastertherehab.com. Moving along to the analyzer, which you can download for free. If you don't have an analyzer, this is the same one that I use. There's a link in the description down below. But The property should rent for somewhere around $1,600, looking at comps in the area that are 4.2s. Property taxes are a surprising $1,205, so super affordable, which is awesome for this market. Cash flow for the property is $1,105.58 or 8.68%. And that's a cash on cash return. So it just shows how much you'd make on the property if you purchased and renovated it with all cash. And 8.68% is actually not a terrible return. If you got a loan on the property at a 75% LTV, you'd make $394.61 or 12.27%, which is actually pretty good as far as cash flow goes. And that includes an 8% management fee. So overall, on this property, I bless it. I think it's a good long-term rental. It has a close proximity to downtown Harrisburg. I always like to purchase in close proximity to things, even if they're in slightly rougher areas, but you can walk to places that have good jobs. You always have this large upside. The other thing, if you're upgrading the electrical, you're upgrading the bathrooms on this property, you're going to have a pretty solid end product. So you're going to have a property that you don't really need to do a lot for in the 7, 10, 11 years going forward if you're redoing a bunch up front. So overall, I'm going to give this property a thumbs up. I give the market 2 thumbs up. And so I think Harrisburg is a super investable market. Hey investors, thanks for watching the video. If you need real estate advice, maybe it's a property, maybe you just need some guidance and direction, I do a free 10-minute phone call the last Thursday of every month. Take a look at the link in the description. I'd be happy to hop on a phone call with you and just give you any advice that I possibly can. So that's it for today, and I'll see you around in the Real Estate Hackers community.